What are your plans for today?
Well, that's exactly what I want you to come over and we'd sit down and talk. I put my hearing aids on specially to have a talk.
The leader of ISIS. So in their eyes, this is something very big, something I think Trump has been boasting, something Obama never did, and something that should have been done a long time ago. Having that been said, I've also seen people retweeting on Twitter one of Trump's many tweets over the years that have been evergreen, which is that in order to get reelected, Obama would start a war with Iran, and I think it's a reflection that some people are very suspicious of the Trump administration's attempts with Iran, that this is actually a long-term goal of regime change and possibly war, just like in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah, there seems to be an old Trump tweet for pretty much every occasion. But when it comes to reaction from Iran, because they still haven't announced what kind of retaliation they're going to take, could this backfire on Trump? Could it backfire on a president that's campaigned in the past about pulling troops out of the Middle East, about not getting the U.S. entangled in foreign wars?
I think it certainly has a possibility of backfire. I think there's this assumption that when you take out a leader, whether it's Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi or Qasem Soleimani, that you've basically gotten rid of the whole problem, but that's not the reality. ISIS continues to live in its own way. IRGC will continue to live. Al-Qaeda has lived after Osama bin Laden. So I think it's really naive and very simplistic to think that things are done. But when you're a Trump supporter and when you hear the death of Qasem Soleimani, you think, well, this is a big deal and Trump has done something very big and it's great for the United States. But in reality, when you're sending several thousand troops into the Middle East after something so big like this, it's almost sending people into the lion's den. And that's a very dangerous precedent in this time of tensions we haven't seen in a very long time in the region.
Because, as you mentioned, of course, killing al-Baghdadi doesn't mean that you've killed off ISIL. What impact do you think the killing of Qasem Soleimani will actually have on Iran itself? So not so much, the escalation, the potential escalation between Iran and the US, but on the Iranian military forces.
I think there was always a sense of being on the defense since the U.S. withdrew from the Iran nuclear agreement, but I think that sense of defense against the West, specifically the United States, has been upheld. This is a country that's been dealing with the threats of war, regime change, and sanctions for 4 decades now, so they've been ready for this. But it's this time that we haven't seen this kind of unprecedented tensions between the U.S. and Iran, that they are, I would say, be very calculating, and as you probably covered earlier, their best bet is asymmetrical warfare, and what that means and when that'll happen is very unclear right now, but it's something that we should be paying attention to happening in the future.
Absolutely. Holly de Gress, Middle East analyst and non-resident fellow at the Atlantic Council. Thank you. Now, still to come in this half hour, why nearly 1,000 children died in an Indian
Monkey.
Oh, there's still a tomato in the pantry for you.
I wonder if it's too late. Start. Oh, guys.
Now, I won't be able to talk. First of all, what do you think about the secession nation?
I think possibly it shouldn't have been done, but if it's true that supposedly he was planning attacks and stuff, maybe it's a good idea.
Well, I think it's highly unlikely that he was planning attacks on the States, because he'd know jolly well he couldn't win. He may have been planning attacks on Israel. That would have been feasible, and it's been in the wind for a while. But the fact he was killed in Iraq complicates it, doesn't it?
Why?
Well, Iraq and Iran have been at war themselves. They can't be close allies, do you think?
No.
So that it might go hard against Iraq. But then because they're a Muslim country, they're more likely to side with Iran than United States, aren't they? I think the biggest fear I have is that Iran's going to attack Israel. Anyway, I think it does seem to be a very, very dangerous thing to do. It's a wee bit like when the United States and other countries like Britain were saying that Saudi, what was that, Saudi, the head of Iraq, that he had lethal weapons. Do you remember way back?
Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, Saddam Hussein. It's just a little bit like that, because some people went along with that and said yes, he should die, and then later they found he didn't have those lethal weapons at all. It may well be the same. Although it might be hard to prove that he wasn't plotting. Yeah, I hate it, because when we were listening to Trump talking, he was talking to a group of Christians, wasn't he? Well, evangelicals. There really seems to be such a high proportion of evangelicals in some states of America, 100% behind Trump.
Mm.
Did you hear him say that he welcomed 2 special leaders? Did you hear that?
What 2 leaders?
Well, Dave and somebody, no, I didn't catch who they were, but I hope it wasn't the ones that used to teach about parenting and children. He was a very fine teacher, but he was quite very evangelical. I'm not feeling too good. I've got 2 sore ankles. I rubbed anti-flam on this one in particular and put a thing on it to hold it firm, and I was able to do quite a bit of gardening. But it's, I can't do much. I've started to cut back on both sides, so that we can walk through more. And I think we really need to cut that wisteria. You know how it's all along the ground. And one time you said to me, shall I clear it? And I said, oh, well, it's not doing any harm, it's stopping the weeds coming up. But it keeps coming out over the path. You did some work on it, but it still needs more. Makes me tired to think of it. It's just so aggressive. I can see long tendrils swinging in the wind. Gee, it would take a lot to kill it, wouldn't it? it was beautiful in the spring, but you might get a week, maybe even 2 weeks if there isn't strong winds. 1 or 2 weeks of beautiful purple flowers hanging in formation going like that. It is lovely, but it's not as wonderful as roses which go on for months. The first few days that you were here, just before Christmas I think it was, or around Christmas time, you did a lot of gardening, and I said one day, I think you've done $50 worth. And so you've only had 10 of that, so I still owe you 40 for that. But I think it's probably, I think it's quite fair if you do a bit of gardening every day, because you're eating quite a bit, and just to for your board. When you think of the new year, have you got any thoughts about anything like that'll change, or that you would, like they talk about New Year resolutions? Have you got any?
No.
I want to be more regular at Tai Chi, if I can. If it continues, I'm not sure whether the same director will be doing it, because she's retired, but I don't know whether she's going to continue doing it. But one thing I'd like you to think about is that if you think back over the last few months, would it be true to say that when you go to Padmos, most of your time is on the computer?
Where is this leading?
Pardon?
Where is this leading?
Well, it's leading that we're just having a talk.
Oh,
Would that be true?
I guess so.
Well, do you think
Think what?
you've got a talent for producing paintings?
Yes, and so,
Would it be a good idea to do some
what do you mean?
at Pablos?
Yeah, but I think it's a bit retarded in the fact that, what's the point?
For sale in Raw, in the gallery.
Yeah, but it's not that easy.
Why?
Oh, God. Because I'm not the only one there.
It's competitive.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous. I've noticed that, I mean, if you want to find a canvas, it can be difficult, and then even paint can be scarce, and you wonder where all the money's going. What little money they get anyway. I remember spending a lot of my own money on my own resources, and as I understand it, other people spend their money too.
Yeah, that doesn't sound so good. No. So when you had the opportunity to do those paintings for Johnsonville, you had easy access, paints and boards and stuff, canvas.
Well, I mean, the boards were bought for me and the paint was supplied,
Yeah,
so.
that was good, wasn't it? Yeah. I think, I certainly want to ask Jamie if we can go and see the things. I'll be going down there Tuesday. I might just go to the place and just see, if the security, if there's somebody that controls who goes in. I'm going down to pick up Glenn, and there's a cousin coming from Auckland. I'm going to take them to a movie.
What's the time now?
11:30. Can you see if, no, you can't see if Shirley's there, can you? Just wondering that. I mean, it'd be nice to give her those chocolates before you go away.
Well, I won't be leaving till tomorrow evening.
That's right. So there's plenty of time, but
I see.
she's not there, so.
Is it okay if I do some work on my phone and start doing some gardening at 1?
Okay.
Because in the game they have a special time called the kill event where you go and attack other bases, and you don't, it happens about once every week, and so it doesn't happen all that.
So what time's it gonna happen?
Well, it's happening now.
Oh, quick, kill. Okay, well that's really good that you explain why you're on the phone a lot. Yeah, okay, go for it. You see, that's part of the communication thing, isn't it? So that I understand there's some vital point in it.
Oh, so often I feel like I can't get up out of the chair.
I think you did say that you think you need more exercise. I would agree with that. I would love to have more exercise, like swimming. My feet don't like to do exercise. So every morning I do a lot of exercises, but I'd sometime in the afternoon too, do exercises on my bed where my feet don't have to hold me up.
Could I have some biscuits?
Yeah, sure.
I just have 2. Oh well, I'll go and seclude myself. I
feel
need to
really
charge.
sad, upset really about that assassination. Oh dear.
I wouldn't worry. I think this has happened several times, and I mean it's always possible that it might escalate and go dreadful, but miracle upon miracles, people seem to keep their heads together and things don't go too badly.
Yeah, okay. Well, you go and do your assassinations.
It's more like genocide. Well, there's approximately... Shit, did I bring my drink? I don't think I brought my drink. I need a drinky poo. Should I just leave it as it is or make the thing smaller? Actually, I think I might just make it a little teeny bit smaller. Where's my drink? I don't know. Right, I've got my drinkies and I can wow, it's still quite large. I think I will bring the repeats down and I'm going to make it even smaller. I might even move the thing along. I might bring it to an end. My tootsies are cold. I'm gonna wear, where's my other socky? I'm cold. I'm cold. Right, it's 25. I think I might bring it to an end, although it is quite pretty. Although I wonder, red and black. What's the next one after the red and black? They're red and light blue. I wonder if it needs white. them white. It stops at 28 anyway, so maybe too much white, too little white. Let's do that. Pink and all those funny colours. Black. $26.45, blah blah blah. Maybe just bring it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Oh, well, we're nearly there. It's only a minute and a bit. I think it's too dark.